Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music Marketing TV. I'm Dan G, and thanks for tuning in to Making Beats Part 3. And this will be the last episode of Making Beats, because vocals will take a little too long to get in to show you guys, but that's okay. This is the mixing episode, and I'm going to show you guys a whole bunch of cool tricks and tips and, ways to make your beat sound more professional and, of course, sound clearer. Right, so we're gonna look at each pattern. I have about 11 patterns, and I'm gonna show you what I did to get the quality that's coming out of there. Right, so let's bring up the mixer, pattern, and pattern mode, and we are on number 1, kick drum. Alright, so as soon as my kick hits, you notice that there's 2 levels. Well, what that is called parallel compression. Alright, and essentially you take your main channel and bust it out to another channel, and what happens is the two play together and results in a plus sound. You get everything you want but more without losing too much information on your kick drum. So there's not much coloration. It's that kick times 2, right? So that's a really good way to get your kick to sound even better without changing anything really. So I got an EQ on this. All I'm doing is raising 50. I also dropped down the kick by 3 tones. 1, 2, 3. Right, so I like the natural. That's what it sounds like, but I wanted to drop it down so I get that more explosion type kick. Alright, so that's all I did. Cut off a little bit on the about 30, looks like 40, and going down. Don't need that stuff. I left everything the way it is because I don't want to have that lo-fi sound. So just leave it. I just leave it, and then I double it up by doing parallel compression. Cool, and that's it. That's my kick drum. Pretty simple, right? Let's move on to pattern 2. We got snares happening, so let's check it out. Parallel compression on my main snare. Right, that's my main snare. I also have an 808 snare that I didn't even put on the mixer yet. So let's do that now. Assign it to controller on the mixer, free spot on the mixer rather, and there put it next to my snares. So got this snare, and 808 snare. So this secondary snare is really for creating that ambient sound kind of thing, and you can see I have a stereo shaper on it, so it's just giving that atmospheric feel to it. Ear candy snare. My main snare, I just have it parallel, right? Give a wicked slap to it. And then nothing on here. I haven't even touched it yet, so let's do that now. All I'm going to do is cut it off slowly. No, it's too much. Yeah, that's like that. Maybe increase it a bit there, or here. I'll just leave it something like that. I really like the way that the snare sounds naturally, and who knows, the snare might have been through some expensive equipment already, so you probably don't even need to add the EQ, but we're gonna leave it like that. Alright, second snare, there's nothing on it but a stereo shaper, and we're gonna leave it like that. But if you're having problems with your own project with the secondary snare, what you can do is just cut it off like that. Right, you don't want to do too much. The idea is to cut the snare and you move along like that, and as soon as you hear the snare start to change, that's where you stop. So a good way of doing it is like kind of like doing that and then letting it play and then start sweeping. Alright, so anyway, we'll leave it like that. 808 snare. I really like adding distortion on this. Now I don't have the proper distortion, but we could try using hardcore. Right, and I'm gonna reset this program, and I'm gonna loop a part where the snare is, There you go. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna add a distortion. Glass up, distortion, not too much. Inferno. Take away the EQ. Okay, we'll leave the glass up like that. Alright. So my snare's pretty thin. This is not the right distortion to use. Obviously, you can tell. It's very thinned out. But go ahead and find like you know, a distortion and mess around with it. You can get some really cool results. In this case, I'm not gonna add the distortion. Not sure if I like that distortion sound in my song, or at least this song, and we're gonna leave it out. Just have the regular snare on there. What we could do is just add the EQ, cut off a bit, get a little bit of the high end part of it, get in the snare section. Yeah. Okay, cool. Just leave it like that. And yeah, that's it. Let's move on. Shakers. My shakers are not even on board yet. Let's put it on. Control L brings it to a free spot on the mixer, and I believe that was 17. Okay, so let's go to 17. Put them both on the same channel. Just makes everything easier, because you know, the channels are stereo in FL. Not your traditional mixer, but it's, you know, it's pretty good. I like it. So here we go. EQ is the main thing about mixing. Notice my stuff gets very thin as I go here. Even though I see this as the main frequency, it does get very thin as I move over. So we're going to cut it off like that. I'm going to do something like that. And then bring the fundamental frequency out. Yeah, we'll leave it over here. I want to do very, very subtle stuff, okay? It's very rare that you want to do major pushes on an EQ, so we'll leave it like that. There it is. There you have it. Pretty simple. Move on to the next. Alright, on this, all I know is pitcher, because without it, it's kind of off. So you know, just to make sure, throw on an auto tune, and you know, make sure it's in the key of your song. Then everything it hits is in key. Make it on fast, and then fruity parametric EQ. Don't need so much of that low stuff. You hear it? So that's all I need to hear. Little bump in at the 700 hertz, and then another one at about the 8,000 hertz. And delay to make it sound percussive. Now my delay is on 2.4, and then over here I have my offset down about 17 to the left. Feedback is at mid. Input volume is, you know, probably on 1 o'clock with a ping pong effect. So that gives a whole bunch of cool percussive dynamics on the left and right speaker.